Hi, I'm Pei Qian.
And I'm Max Lin.
Today we're going to talk about the trade war's impact on China's neighbors in Asia. So Max, what are the consequences of trade war on other Asian economies and the currencies?
Sure. Well, Asian economies are both competitors to China and customers to China overall. So if you think about it from that perspective, the suppliers to China and the customers to China, those currencies are going to weaken, like the Korean won and the Taiwan dollar did this year, because of the trade war. And that makes sense, right? US tariffs reduce demand for Chinese goods, and that in turn reduces demands for the components in those goods. It reduces demand for Korean memory chips and reduces demand for Taiwanese semiconductors.
Right, so North Asian currencies seems to be more heavily impacted. So what about South and Southeast Asian currencies?
Sure. Well, Indonesia and India are less integrated into the economy. And there is this narrative in markets right now that says that India and Indonesia can actually benefit from some of the supply chain realignment out of China and into Southeast Asia. I think that's still pretty distant, though. For now, the main dynamic is these countries are going to continue to be suppliers to China, not competitors.
I agree with you that from a microeconomics perspective, supply chain realignment is a multi-year process and it takes longer. Corporates that move out of China to avoid tariffs must also consider the cost of leaving China, such as China's skilled workforce and its infrastructure advantage.
I mean, that's a very good point, right? If you're a corporation and you're trying to take advantage of some of these recent tax breaks introduced by Indonesia and India, you're going to have to weigh that against the cost of basically giving up China's very good infrastructure and going into India and Indonesia, which have less infrastructure, and that will increase your costs, of course, right? So in the near term, I think that it's still a supplier and customer symbiotic relationship. When the yuan weakens, then those other currencies are going to weaken as well. And in terms of China's policy outlook, do you think that there's anything on the Chinese side that's going to change the dynamic between ASEAN and China in the future?
Well, China is currently leading a regional trade deals negotiation known as the RCEP. So I think if this trade deal can be completed, it will actually further integrate Southeast Asian economies into China's supply chain.
Okay, so then if anything, ASEAN is becoming more integrated into China, not less integrated. So overall, the conclusion is then that all Asian economies are going to suffer in the near term from the US-China trade war if it persists. That's all for us now. Do follow us on LinkedIn for further updates. Thank you.